Welcome to another episode of the Textual Talk. Today we have an inspiring journey to unveil as we dive into the incredible transition of ShaeInTheCloud, who moved from working as a dental assistant to becoming a cloud engineer. Join the host HD as Shae shares how the unexpected outbreak of COVID led to her office shutting down and eventually led to her decision to change careers. Learn how a simple TikTok video featuring a determined Black woman shows Shae that she could be in the cloud as well and helped her pivot into tech, leading her into an expansive world of cloud engineering. Equipped with free resources, mentorship, and the power of community, Shae embarked on a transformative journey through certification and hands-on projects. Tune in to hear how amidst challenges she became an AWS influencer partner and advocate for tech training, offering insights, resources, and inspiration for those looking to chart a similar path. Whether you're interested in cloud engineering, content creation, or simply drawn to compelling stories of career reinvention, this episode is packed with insights and motivation just for you. This video will be sponsored by SNHU. So it's 2025 and cybersecurity is still all the rage. Breaches are at an all-time high and so are cyber salaries. But there's a problem you keep running into. Cyber jobs you want to land are requiring a degree and you don't have one. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Southern New Hampshire University, SNHU. SNHU has a flexible online program that also touts one of the lowest tuitions in the country. SNHU is an affordable, accredited nonprofit university that has dedicated career advisors, webinars, internships, and more to prepare you to enter or advance in the workforce. There's a 32% projected growth of information security analyst roles through 2032, and according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median security analyst salary in 2023 was $120,000. In SNHU's program, you can learn about these critical subjects: cybersecurity foundations, networking, incident response, risk management, enterprise security, and more. As a cybersecurity professional, these are all important courses. If you would like to know more about SNHU's program, then please visit snhu.edu/textual or click the link below in the description. Welcome back to the Textual Talk podcast. I'm your host, HD. We got a special guest for you guys today. We got none other than the lovely ShaeInTheCloud. Probably seen her on TikTok, YouTube, Advocacy, and many of the other places that you see her frequent when she's making her content and trying to help you guys get in the cloud. But first, if you listen to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, y'all know what to do. Like, leave us a review, and follow the podcast. And right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, just hit the like button. And if you really like it, you can subscribe later. But let's get into the episode. Shae, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Henri. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I cannot complain. Y'all, she's an Eagles fan, so she's been happy about that. I think every time they did something in the Super Bowl, I would text her like three Eagles.
Yes, as you should. As you should.
Yeah. But let's get into it. For the people who are not familiar with you, who is Shae?
ShaeInTheCloud is all about helping people get into tech, whether it's cloud, data, whatever. The whole point and my mission is to help people understand that the barriers to learning tech are not as impossible or out of reach. A lot of these resources are free. Most of the resources I use to pivot into tech were free resources. I probably paid for maybe one certification, but outside of that, I want people to understand that if you really want to get into tech, the opportunities are there. And, the climate is a little bit different than when I started, but the resources are still the same. And if you want it bad enough, you can make it happen. So that's what ShaeInTheCloud is, cloud engineer, machine learning, developer advocate. That's what I do.
Bet. So you are from Philly, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What look, I don't know nothing about North Philly. What part of Philly?
I'm from Uptown. It's near Germantown.
Okay. Who else from Germantown?
North Philly?
No, I was saying who else from Uptown?
I really don't know who's from Uptown. I know I'm from Uptown.
Respect. Now, for the people who don't know, before you did all this tech stuff, and you probably like some tech stuff like as a child, but didn't really know how to pursue it, like most of us did. Talk about going to Westchester and what did you decide to major in, and what were your thoughts about like schooling during that time?
So college to me was just a whole new experience. I was a nerdy nerd in these Philly streets, and I don't even know if you're still on.
I just met you solo.
Oh, you scared me. Why you guys let me know? I was like, he's gone.
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Um,
I'm just doing this here that way it could one just make it like you more so just talking to the camera, and two, if I have to look off and do some crap, I'm not like distracting you. So that's all.
okay, cool. Um, yeah, college for me was a brand new experience. I was a nerdy nerd in those Philly streets. So college for me was a new opportunity to just be a young adult. I initially went to college to become a veterinarian for big animals. I wanted to help the elephants and the lions in the safari. And that was my goal. Um, and then along the way, I had a really bad counselor who basically tried to talk me out of it and said, without saying, that she didn't think I was smart enough to be a vet. And so it kind of discouraged me. And then I just did liberal studies for a while. And then I pivoted into kinesiology. I did not do tech in school. I did not want to pursue tech. Tech was not even on my brain. I think I had to do one coding course and I dropped out. Or not, I didn't drop out. I withdrew because I was like, what are we talking about? All I saw was ones and zeros. It felt like I was in the matrix. I said, this is not for me. I did not touch tech again until right around COVID. And so, for me, it was all about being a vet or doing something. But that was my journey. Westchester was not tech. You would not find those two correlated at all.
Okay. So, do you think you were not scared, but like, so we know, and not to age yourself here, but around what time were you like at Westchester?
I'm old. I don't care. I'm 30, what's 2025, 34. So I went to college 09, 10, 2010.
Okay, yeah. So you was there like a little bit for me. I came in 2010. So
Oh, nice.
we know back then that's like a long time ago. Based on what it looks like now, we didn't see a lot of what we even got going on in this podcast back then to even encourage you to like, hey, you could be smart and get into tech, and you don't have to be like Velma from Scooby Doo and all these different things. And so that's the only reason why I asked that, because I think that's what maybe stopped some people back in the day. It's like, oh yeah, I don't, that's for nerds or whatever. Or, I can't do that. I'm not that smart to do that or
Yeah.
whatever. And,
It felt
and not
inaccessible. It
knowing
felt
that,
like something that it felt like you had to be a rocket scientist. It was not something that was pushed, in my community, not for sure. So it was definitely new.
around or before the pandemic time, you were a dental assistant. About how long were you a dental assistant before the pandemic hit?
It was almost 8 years. I was a demo assistant. Again, I'm big on non-traditional routes. And so I got my schooling through like a free Red Cross program. And then I was a military spouse at the time. And so I was a dental assistant overseas in every different department that you could think of, from surgery. I did a lot of oral surgery to braces to pediatric. I did that for almost 8 years. I came back to the States. And then that's when COVID kind of went crazy.
Got it. And man, what's crazy? It don't seem like it was that long ago, but it was. It's like been 5 years now, really.
I know, it's really
And
insane.
like, how was so? Okay, when it happened for people who had jobs like yours, because like all these people who had to go to the office type of roles and interact with people, their lives were uprooted like this. So how was that? Like, did the dentist just say, "Hey, yo, we don't know what's gonna happen. We trying to do all this stuff with this kind of these funds to try to pay y'all." Like, hey, what was that like?
So, you still get paid bi-weekly, but I remember exactly the day it happened. I was driving home from work, and I remember on the radio, they were like, school is canceled, like indefinitely. And I was like, oh, this is getting serious. And so the thing with dental assistant and COVID, COVID was coming from people's mouths and coughing and stuff. And so when we went into the office, we were decked out in like hazmat attire. And even then, I wasn't comfortable. I was like, So then eventually, our office shut down. It was only open for emergencies because emergencies do happen. You could fall, your tooth comes out, or you just have an actual dental emergency. And we would get called into office. But other than that, routine checkups, all that stuff was shut down. We still were getting paid. Luckily, I had a good office where they understood we still had bills to pay. But it was just weird for everybody. It was scary times. And eventually I just quit. I was like, I can't do it. I'm not comfortable even wearing clothes. Like I would change my clothes out the hazmat clothes after work, put the stuff in the trunk. I still wasn't comfortable. And I was like, I can't do this. And that's when, I pivoted into tech and I was like, this is what I'm going to do. And I'm going to go full force.
Yeah, that's a crazy time, man. Because I think like out of sight, out of mind for a lot of people. But you had people. Honestly, pro and the con was that at least a lot of people got the extra money per week. Well, the people who allegedly needed it. The con
Yeah.
was that we end up paying. I think we still paying for that now. All that free money that they gave out with that combined with the PPP loans and all that stuff. People just thought they was gonna get stuff for free. It was a wild time. Now it was cool to like just go to the stores and nobody was there. You could like actually breathe people not just being up on you because people were scared. And I'll probably say that's probably like the last time I got in some really good shape. Like I'm talking about, it wasn't nothing to do but run miles outside. Everybody,
Wow.
yeah, everybody in the community, we was outside running miles. Like it was like, man, we going crazy in this house. Like,
That's true. That's true. Being on lockdown it was really like an apocalypse. We were living through some scary times, but it was the best time to pivot your life. If you wanted to do something, that was the time. You had another time.
yeah, I definitely had a joke about how many people broke up or divorced during that time too, because they just found out, hey, we don't like each other like we thought we did. I'm like, yeah, let's go ahead and dissolve this buddy.
Right.
But in all seriousness, though, what drew you to the cloud? Like, out of all things to do, what made you say, I want to do that?
So I did not know what tech was. I thought tech was one thing, that was coding, ones and zeros. I had no idea that tech was so broad and you could do so many things. And one day I was scrolling TikTok. I tell this story 1,000 times, but I was scrolling TikTok. I saw this beautiful Black woman, and she was like, I don't want to be a lawyer anymore. I never have time for my children. And ethically and morally, I don't feel right. And so I'm going to pivot. She didn't say I'm going to. She said, I pivoted into tech and I became a cloud engineer making just as good money in 4 months. And I said, 4 months? If she could do that, I can do it. And that's where I feel like representation is everything. Because I could have saw it from somebody else. But the fact that I saw this woman who looked like me, was also a single parent, and, just wanted that work-life balance. And she said she did it in 4 months. I was like, okay. And that moment changed everything for me. From that moment on, I was like, certification, certification. Let's do this project. Let's build this. Let's do that. That was the start of it for me.
Yeah, it's crazy because I think a lot of like, I was already making content before then, but in the middle of the pandemics, when I said I'm going to pivot and actually make tech content, because I had already been in tech for 6, almost 7 years at the time. And I was like, I don't see a lot of
Mhm.
people talking about this stuff. Let me start talking about this stuff because I'm doing a job where I'm still gainfully employed and I'm working remote. So let's kind of talk about these different things and what you would need to get into cybersecurity and yada yada yada. And
Yeah.
so I think that birthed a lot of good and bad platforms, I would say, when it comes to getting into tech, whether whatever domain or discipline you choose. And I would say, before I ask you your next question, I think it's also because I think you're just wise and you had enough experience and you probably had not been around the block, but you had some type of street smarts. How did you decipher between what was good advice and what was bad advice?
I think the biggest thing for me, I'm big on reviews. I want to see what the people are saying. I want to see what the streets are saying. So my ear is always to the streets. Back then, when I first started, I was on Twitter heavy, and I was always on Black Tech Twitter. And for real, like I would look at that
Dumpster
hashtag and
fire.
see what people are talking about, what people in my area, what are the tech girls saying? Like I want to connect with people who are already doing what I'm doing and offering advice for free. You're trying to sell me something, I'm not sure if I was believing you or not, but the people who are freely and genuinely giving advice, I flock to people like that. So, for example, Tanika Askew, dope. She's so dope. She's the GOAT. She's goated. She dropped free resources every single day. LinkedIn, Twitter. She's like, listen, Google just dropped this. AWS just dropped this. Sign up, get in here. And when I saw people like that, I said, okay, this is the type of network I want to build. The other thing was I got a mentor to silence out all that noise because everybody had a different pathway to become a cloud engineer. Everybody's saying, do this, study this first, do that. And it was just confusing, and it would make me pause on my progress because I didn't know what to do next. So I found a mentor on Twitter of all spaces, cool behind white dude. I say that to say because this man has like unapologetically just helped me in every avenue. The minute that he agreed to be my mentor, within 24 hours, he was sending me free resources, not free, he paid for them, but he was sending me resources like books and stuff to study, learn how to script, learn how to do this. And because he saw I was serious, he was like, I've been doing cloud for 15 years before people even knew what cloud was. This is what you need to know. And I was like, okay, cool, you know? So I think finding a mentor, but then also finding those people in the community that genuinely want to help you is big.
Yeah, that was a loaded response. I actually like that response. Nah, I was on Tech Twitter at the time. I was in my own subsets. Of course, you had people trying to get everybody mama cybersecurity, which some people was getting it easier then because it was just that time. Companies was
Yeah.
making a lot of money and they just was letting some people get in. But that's kind of changed now. However, we used to have all the tussles back then. Like, because the people like me back then, we were veterans, so we had been in. So we would always tell people, hey, we don't think what those people are saying is, ideal, but people want to listen to us and they would get mad, but later if they got scammed or something. And then you had like other people like I when I first started doing the career coaching stuff, like I charged, but it was like super cheap. Like I had already worked with a lot of people for free and I just said, yo,
Yeah.
just write me a recommendation if I did that. But even then, I was just charging something like one for my time, two, so you respect it.
Yeah.
Because I've ran into a you, except at the time he was how old was Day at the time? 18 or 19 years old.
Mhm.
So he reached out to me on LinkedIn and was telling me all the stuff he was doing. I think I had just synced his YouTube channel, if not or whatever, but he was working. And so he was going out there and getting it. And then he would just ask me advice or whatever. And so I took a liking to that and I helped him early on in his career from um, giving him some feedback to where I helped him get on like the company I worked at after he got his like first stint of experience.
Ooh,
And yeah, because I was like, yeah, man, these people know they underpaying you for this role. But I was like, you young, take it just for the experience, and I got you for sure. Because I knew he didn't know what I knew at that time. We had some people that was finna fire or kick off our contract, so
right.
I knew he was much better than most of them, and they were very impressed with him. But
Mm,
most people are not like the go getter type. Like they don't
that's
show
true.
they won't show you a reason why you should mentor them. They'll just come up and ask you, "Hey, I want you to be my mentor." I'm like, I don't know you. That's a horrible way for you to ask a mentor. I was like, I have to.
Yes.
A mentor is a little bit less formal, and I take a liking to you, and then I mentor you that way versus you just thinking I'm a mentor you. Because if I had $1 for everybody that mentored me, if I had $1 for everybody who just asked me that on like LinkedIn and stuff, like mentoring them, it's like I don't know nothing about you. You never engaged in my content. I never seen what you've been working on, what you've been posting. Why should I mentor you? Why also should I put I think this is a big one too, and we'll keep on getting along with the thing though. Why should I put my name behind yours? And that's the big one because a lot of times people don't realize that like we don't want to put our names on there for everybody. So what's so special about you that I go to bat for you and say, yo, hire her, hire him. And if you can't show anybody that, then you need to keep on building your skills up until you can finally get a mentor. And then lastly, like you were talking about the chatter, it is a lot of voices. If you listen to everything, you'll get nowhere. And I've had
Nowhere.
situations where I have clients or other people, if they're getting coached by me or whatever, but they still listen to everybody else. I'm like, fam, are you going to listen to what I'm telling you to do, or are you going to listen to them? Because I don't want you to listen to them and then say, hey, I used this stuff and it didn't work. I'm like, no, you didn't listen to
Right.
me. You started doing stuff I never told you to do. I had a guy that started adding stuff on his LinkedIn and stuff one time that I never told him to do. I said, where you got the idea from? Or what these people said. I was like, did you pay them or you paid me? What
Mhm.
if not, that's what you want to do, cool, but don't come complaining to me because you doing stuff I didn't tell you to do. So it's a lot. But I mean, I'm always telling people I push out whatever I think can be beneficial when I find the free stuff. But and you shoot, just apply to, you never know what you'll get out of it. So but the next thing I want to say that happens in your career right after that is the Google apprenticeship program, right? So how did you go about getting that? Did you just apply, or what happened?
So again, my network, Tanika posted on Twitter, and I was following her heavy. Every time she posted something, I'm like, I'm on it, I'm on it, on it. And that goes back to what you were talking about. Everybody's not a go-getter. A lot of people just want handouts. You got to put the work in. This is not like if you're trying to have a six-figure career and think you're just gonna get it handed to you. So she posted something on Twitter and was like, "Hey, Google's dropping their first cohort for Google Cloud." I was like, "What? This is what I want to do." Immediately signed up, went through the whole process of like kind of interviewing for to get into the cohort because it was only like 40 of us, 40, 50. And I got in and I went to bat. Like I every time we had a class, I was asking 1,000 questions. I formed my own little study group with me and these other girls. I'm still in contact with the guy who ran the whole cohort at Google. He's still there. And it was just really good. It was really, really good. And yeah, like I said, use your network, use those resources because I think as soon as she posted it, I signed up.
Cool. So what did you? I know it's gonna be hard to just say what did you learn out of a 12-week program, but like, what did it cover? Like, just was it just like the basis of GCP and different things you would do as a cloud engineer, or what was it?
So they took it a step further. It was actually longer than 12 weeks. I feel like it was, they added months on because a lot of people needed more time. Um, so they covered the foundational stuff, but then they also what they would do is give us projects to work on, kind of like together, and it was also prepping you to take the certification. So we would have weekly meetups. We'd go over all the questions, all the like prep exam questions, and we go over why was that the correct answer, why wasn't it, what could be different. Um, we go over the coursework, and a lot of us would just build stuff together. Like we're not just learning; we want to actually do a lot of hands-on stuff. So we did hands-on labs. We built our own projects, and basically felt like we were solutions architect in a way. We did a lot of infrastructure stuff. And by the end, you were prepared to take the exam. And they gave you a voucher. I took it. Me and my girls, we studied. I, I think we studied for a good week after the program was over. And we all took it on the same day and passed. And I was like, yes. It was amazing. And I still keep up with those people. Like I said, I pop in every once in a while. They'll have me come and talk to the newer cohorts that are happening. And it's just been a really good program.
Man, that's good. You said something excellent. Build and lab.
Mhm.
I don't know if I can't remember if I sent you an invite to my Discord or not.
I
But
don't remember.
the other day there was this guy in the Discord talking about how he didn't pass the AZ 900. For y'all that don't know, AZ 900 is pretty much Microsoft's basic Azure cloud certification. It's pretty much akin to the AWS cloud practitioner. Literally same exams but different terms. And they failed it. And I said, "Well, how did you prepare?" He was like, "We took this 3 or 4 week class where we whatever they did in the class, and he watched some YouTube video." I was like, "So you mean to tell me you wasn't starting up the services or building out the stuff when y'all was going through it?" He was like, "No." I say, "Well, how do you expect to pass it?" And then I'm like, the culture of just doing the bare minimum, think you finna like get a job is crazy because you can't say, "Oh, I got this cloud certification," and you pass, but then they ask you something and you can't tell them about anything and
Nothing
what
about cloud.
you learn. And that's why I actually advocate for cloud certifications, probably outside of some other certs I like because they're practical. But at least with the cloud stuff, most of these instructors will walk you through the labs and where you can at least do them. And then, where what me and you're coming in at, or we talk about is having a mentor. Your mentor say, "Okay, cool. Now take all the stuff you did, apply it to a real life problem." You say, "Let's imagine,
Yeah.
it's day 30 at your new job, and I need you to do this, this, and this. Now, how would you do it? Notate it, document it, yada, yada, yada." So now you just got an
Mm.
example of a real life project that you can blog about, talk about on your LinkedIn, and you can also
Mm.
showcase it if you want to do a walkthrough.
Yeah.
I think that's where a lot of people are messing up at too when it comes to that. It's like, which we got a better question for that later on for you. But I think I've seen that plenty of times where it's like, well, hey, you're trying to get in, but don't nobody know you're trying to get in. That's a big one. That'd be cool if I can make the title, but it probably won't work that good.
Yeah, but don't nobody even know. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like prime example is like back in the days or whatever. This being the social media age, these youngins, the youngin will want to talk to the young lady or the young man, and they'll wait till they get home and say, "Hey, I think I saw you out." Well, why you didn't walk up and say nothing?
Exactly.
Like, why you waited till you got home to mention me on Instagram when you could have just came over there and spoke?
Preach.
Crazy. You sound like you got a lot of experience with that.
With people not advocating for themselves.
People seeing you and then reaching out later. Hey, I think I saw you out.
You know what? Actually, it's the opposite. People will come up to me and I'll be so unprepared. Like they'll come up to me and which is cool. I love seeing everybody, but like if I see you in a space that's not tech and I'm like, oh, I gotta be Shae in the cloud. You know what I mean? Because
Mhm.
that's me, but that's just this one side of me. Sometimes I be looking crazy and people come up and I'm like, you know what? But I love that though, because you have to take every opportunity. And every time I've seen somebody out and about, we usually exchange some type of resources or something that's helpful. And so it's like, hey, I would do the same thing. I'm running up on anybody. Like, I need to know.
Yeah, I know. I was like, not taking it back, but grateful. Like 3 years ago, going to Afrotech and having people like, "Yo, you got a YouTube channel? I think I watch you all the time," or stuff like that. So it's like you just never know who's watching and what you're doing. So it just feels better
Yeah.
when people kind of not on no like I'm a superstar stuff because people do that
Yeah.
to me. I'm like, man, I'm a regular degular dude from Louisiana. Like, ain't nothing special about me. Like, please don't get it confused.
Yeah.
Put my pants on just like you. Like, don't like
Yeah.
I'm normal.
Yeah. No, it's nice. It's nice meeting people. Definitely not on the popular stuff, but just the fact that you can see the impact that you're making and people come back and like, hey, this really helped me. Like, oh, that's cool. It's a cool feeling. It's a cool feeling.
So now you got your first cloud internship. Can you tell us about it?
So actually, it wasn't a cloud internship. It was a software developer internship because while I was studying to become a cloud engineer, I was also studying in a free boot camp called 100 Devs, and it was a full stack web development boot camp. And so I felt like I was dual enrolled basically. And so I was building out websites for clients and building up my portfolio, and I got into a software developer internship. And then after a year, they offered me a full time role as a cloud engineer, which really is like a DevOps engineer role currently. So,
Okay, cool. How was that like? Like, what's some cool stuff? I guess like you did, or like were you dealing with any imposter syndrome once you got that role, or what?
oh my God, I've been dealing with imposter syndrome since day one, especially the internship, because I came in as a software developer. Mind you, I'm fresh into the tech world, and they threw me in with the networking team. And I was like, excuse me, I don't know anything about network. I learned backwards. So I was still fresh with my mentor as well. And one of the first things he told me to learn was networking. And I get into this internship and everybody is just talking. And I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. But I faked it till I made it. I was honest. I let them know, like, I really don't know what you guys are talking about, but I'm taking notes and I'm studying. So every time they were talking, I was in meetings, I'm taking notes, and then I'm breaking it down and I'm learning these concepts on YouTube and Google and stuff afterwards. But it was a journey. In my DevOps role, it's a lot. It's a lot of CI/CD, a lot of automation. Like in my DevOps role, it feels a little different from other, I guess, traditional DevOps roles because I do a lot of software development. I code a lot of full stack applications, containerize them, automate them, put them in the
Oh,
cloud.
hold on now. You saying some stuff? Let's break the dictionary out for C. What that
Continuous
stands for?
integration, continuous deployment, right? Want to make sure that things are running smoothly at all times. But we do a lot of that in my company. And also, like I said, automation. If you could automate something, your job will love you because now they don't have to depend on you to get stuff up and running, make sure that things are evaluated the right way. It's just going to keep going. And so that's what I do on a day to day. I work for a telecommunications company, and so it's cool. It's been cool, but outside of that, I do a lot of personal projects because, my niche, my passion is machine learning, AI, and that I don't get to do a lot of that on my job. And so what I do is build my own projects, create my own challenges so other people can learn with me. And that's kind of where I'm at now. Like I'm working on a huge project right now. But we'll get into that later because this I start rambling.
No, that's cool. Look, we like that. I'm finna reel you back in to talk about containers and how would somebody actually do some CI CD stuff, like what type of tool or anything would they use to do all that. So
I think when we're talking about all this stuff, the main thing is going to be Docker, Kubernetes, right? Jenkins is cool. I haven't really touched Jenkins in my actual job, but I know I was using it in my toolbox. So I like to say, as a cloud engineer, it's not just certifications. You have to have a full toolbox of things that really set you apart as an actual cloud engineer. You have scripting, programming, CI/CD, containerization. Um, and so when it comes to CI/CD containerization, you got Jenkins, Jenkins, Docker's, Kubernetes. I use Docker's every day because we want to containerize what we're working on. We want to make sure, essentially, if you don't know what that means, that what I built works on your computer. Like I don't want you to say I don't have that dependency. Everything you need is in here. Okay, so think of it as a gift I'm sending to you. Everything that you need to run the program is in that container. And so that's big. And the people, I don't, Docker is actually not that difficult to learn. Once you do it a few times, it's good. You can do it in, CLI or they have a GUI, right? They have a cool little user interface one. You can
I think
click.
so.
Yeah. But yeah, Dockers and Kubernetes, get on that. You need that.
I mean, even past the cloud, like even now in security, you need to at least know something about it. You'll see, because like what's happened is now they lumping up a whole bunch of roles together. Like I'm
Yes,
just,
they are.
I'm like, fam, y'all know for a fact, like if the person, if majority of the role don't like consist of this, don't have it to be like so high on the like responsibility thing because it probably could be something they can learn. Like put the more
Yeah.
important things that they're gonna do every day on there, and the other stuff say like we like you like to learn this. And you said something cool about automation. I agree, but I feel like sometimes people mess around to automate themselves out of a job.
That's true.
So it's like, we don't need you. You got to mess
Ooh,
up any so a
automate
couple.
this enough.
Yeah, I'll
That's
say automate little tedious things like
yeah,
for sure.
that's right.
And you said you're still dealing with that. So I think I had in your questions, I think this is where the intermission came from. Yeah. So I want to segue real quick into ShaeInTheCloud because I'm pretty sure ShaeInTheCloud is happening at the same time all this other stuff is happening. Like, unfortunately, I didn't go back into TikTok to figure out like your video or when you made your first video because it's like it's not. That's why I like YouTube better. I can go back to oldest and I can start them.
Oh, true.
TikTok make it a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
tough. Yeah, talk about the decision to do ShaeInTheCloud and was it your mentor's idea to just go ahead and just brand yourself as ShaeInTheCloud or what?
I never had the goal to be Shay in the cloud or personal branding came along the way. It's so funny because I just did an interview before this. I said the same story, but my first video came after I got my associate certification with Google. And I was so hyped. I was so hyped. And I was like, why don't other people know about this? This is insane. Like, and I say this so much, and I really don't care because it means a lot to me. I come from Philly. I don't want to say that I'm not going to say that. I come from Philly and I come from hard times. And when I go back home, a lot of those people that I saw growing up are still in the same positions because this information feels inaccessible. It feels like you're not smart enough to do something like this, but you are. You know what I mean? And so I got my certification, associate level. So I thought I was big and bad. So I threw on my favorite dress. I put a sheet up on the wall as a backdrop. I set my little phone up and I was like, hey, I just passed my certification. And I said, we need more women in cloud. We need more Black women in cloud. We need to take up space. And this is how you can do it for free. And I made that video and it kind of went like semi-viral. And people were like, I want to do it, sis. I want to do it. Like I'm in dental too. And from there, I was just like, okay, people are seem really interested in this. People are very receptive. And so I was just taking questions that people put in the comments, making more videos from that. Anytime I got another certification, let's make a video about it. This is how I study. I found this resource. Y'all got to know about it. Get in here. I just want everybody to eat. I want everybody to have opportunity to say, I changed my life, and this is how I did it. And so that's kind of how it started. It started like 2.5 years ago. Last year I went full force and I was just kicking out content after content after content. And
Yeah,
eventually brands
you told
started
me.
coming my way. So yeah.
Cool. Man, my intrusive thoughts almost won when you was talking about your favorite dress. I thought about Johnny Gill, my. And
My, my.
I was like, was your dress red?
She was green.
Oh, okay. See, that's why I wouldn't work. I wouldn't try to sing the song for no reason. And then
See?
when you was like brand started coming your way, I thought about Fetty. But nah, that's dope. And actually, like, let's go a little bit into the content, right? I've been doing content for years now. Granted, I just have never really put like I ain't gonna lie, like I like doing this, but it's just something about me doing this on TikTok that I really don't care about. For whatever reason, like I'll be like, you know what? I can go review that right now inside the app and it'll probably do well. I think that's what it is. It didn't discourage me, but I stopped caring about it when I was like, yo, I'm actually recording this and then repurposing it. And TikTok don't like that I didn't shoot it in TikTok. So I was like,
Yeah.
forget it. Cause I hate that. I'm like any other app, like YouTube don't care where I shoot the content. Just put it on here and we gonna push it out when the people like it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I probably say at TikTok like should like work on if they want to actually like compete with
Yeah.
YouTube on that level as they want to move on to like more long form content. But having said all that, outside of the brand deals, how has making content helped you with your own career?
It's definitely helped to hold some weight. It's actually a double-edged sword because on one end, I have this community and nobody can deny that. I have a community who trusts what I talk about, who, I don't know how to explain it. I have the people. I got the people, and the brands want the people. But when it comes to careers, sometimes what I've been finding lately is, as far as like if I'm interviewing for a developer advocate role, um, people will see that and feel like, oh, you're a content creator. You're not techie. And I hate that because they try to diminish my tech level and my tech skills because all you see is my Instagram. So you think I'm desire reviewing stuff. Yes, I am a content creator, but I was a cloud engineer first. I was a software developer first. And I still do that for my 9 to 5. And so, excuse you for trying to diminish anything and everything that I worked for. And so there's good and bad. It'll get you into some doors and a lot of opportunities, a lot of cool things, speaking engagements and just a lot of things. But when it comes to trying to interview specifically for a developer advocate, they yeah, it's
Yeah.
been interesting to navigate.
Yeah, I haven't really ran into that. Like, for one, I try to, as much as I can, I try to separate it because, like, I'm really like unfiltered. So, like, that's why even on LinkedIn, my real company is not even on LinkedIn. Like, because I
Um,
like to say what I say when I say it, and I don't want you to go look up and say, "Oh, this type of person you hire, whatever," because people do it all the time. I was like, um, and it's been sometimes like if the interviewer asks me like a lot of roles if I'm interviewing for like some lead or manager like yeah how you mentor people and I was like well I've helped over X amount of people get on the blue team from my own either content or my company or whatever so that's other times when I slide it in there but honestly a lot of times the companies don't like for whatever reason they don't like you got stuff on the side they want you to for whatever reason be solely dependent on them
yeah,
and I feel like that is not fair because y'all a lot of times only giving people a 3-40% raise, but the bills keep billing and inflation keep on inflating. So people got to figure out other ways to go get it. So you can't try to ding me because I'm doing this other stuff on the side. I'm like, no, if
yeah,
anything, you should actually let me do more and speak for, like you said, the advocate for the company because a lot of people scared to talk.
yeah. And that's the thing. For developer advocates specifically, technically I'm already a developer advocate. I've been a developer advocate for 2 years. Every time I'm making this content and it's technical and I'm getting paid to do it for a company, I'm a developer advocate contractually. Um, it's just it's interesting. But I would think if you wanted a developer advocate, you want somebody that clearly can show like they can build community. They got the followers, they got the people that are engaging. So it's been very interesting for me.
So one thing I used to always try to disassociate myself with, I would say, hey, I'm not an influencer. I'm a content creator because I create content.
Mm.
I've created a course for LinkedIn and other stuff. The
Yeah,
influencers, a lot of them have either just got in a tech role or they work a non-technical role. And they always trying to influence you to get whatever boot camp or do this so they can get some money from affiliates, which is cool.
yeah,
But there is a distinction. But what happened was people try to lump everybody together, and we was like, nah, that's not it, fam.
yeah.
And so I used to tell everybody, hey, these people you listening to, these influencers, whatever, go see if you can find them on LinkedIn and see what their real experience is. So now you are an AWS influencer partner. Like, what do you do and what does that consist of?
So an AWS Efficiency Partner is somebody usually in tech, and they create content for AWS. And I've worked with them 7 times over the past year. And the good thing about AWS is there's so many different departments. So when I first started, creating content for them, I thought it was just all just like, oh, this is AWS. But you have the people who do on-site events, you have the free tier department, you have the hiring department, you have so many different things. And so it started off with them coming to me for some content through an agency. It's never directly; it's through an agency, and then you sign your contracts. They tell you what it's about, and so it did well, and it kept doing well, and kept doing well, and yeah, I got to work with them a few times as well as some other tech companies, and it's been really fun to do. And so in the process, I mean, because the thing is, I was already telling people about AWS resources. I was telling people about all the different cloud platforms. And so to get paid to do what I'm already doing is really, really cool. And on top of that, it's great because I'm not selling anybody anything. It's genuine. It's like, hey, go apply for this role. Use the free tier section of AWS. Come to this event and things that I will already do without getting paid. And so I just thought it was really cool. It's great to be acknowledged in that space for that type of content.
Oh, yeah, we definitely are waiting on you to give us the newsletter for the secret sauce. For the secret sauce, man, like the different brands and stuff like that. I got a couple that I worked with before. Well, I still have some, like one agency that I work with. Like I got like
Yeah.
two affiliate deals with them, but they're pretty simple. They're pretty easy. I got one for SNHU and then one for ARA for people for their security needs and their identity needs. But all these scammers out here, like this is random, but these scammers have been sending out these fake toll text messages to people saying,
I
"Hey, you got to
got a
pay your
few
toll."
of them.
Yeah, and you just got to make sure you ain't looking at it when it's like 2 or 3 in the morning before you mess around and click something and give them the information.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's for ours for stuff like that. Seeing who has your information. It's a VPN. It has password managers. It
Oh,
runs
dope.
like your credit and everything. So
That's dope. Yeah, I feel like I want to do stuff like that. Like, oh, this is how you land collabs, but then it's tricky navigating their audience. Like the people, they're there for one thing, and then you start talking about other stuff, and they're like, girl. And so it's interesting. I do want to
start a
do it.
separate.
Maybe I
I was gonna say start a separate channel or just start putting it in newsletters. That's what I do.
yeah, I'm gonna do a newsletter because I can't manage another channel. It's not gonna work for me. I can barely manage this channel. So
I feel you. I definitely feel you on that. How would a person become a developer advocate?
So usually to become a developer advocate, you've already been in tech for some time, like some time. You're usually not an expert, but you're a professional level of whatever topic it is. Because you can be a developer advocate at any tech company. It could be a database company. It could be a creative arts company that does tech, that does APIs. You can be a developer advocate at AWS, Google, whatever, machine learning. You just have to be really good and really knowledgeable about a certain tool, a certain part of tech. And then the other side of that is that you're good with public speaking, you're good with creating content that help other people, but also you have your ear to the ground. You know how to build a community, you know how to advocate for other developers, you know their pain points so that you can bring it back to the company. And so again, I feel like that's what I do already. um, but yeah, that's what a developer advocate is. They also work vice versa. So developer advocate, anytime a company drops a new tool or resources, they're letting the developers in the community know, hey, this is how you use it. You know, let's do a YouTube follow along. Let's build something together. So yeah,
Nice. Have you been to reInvent yet?
I haven't been to reInvent. I've been to the regular conferences with AWS, like the free ones, but I definitely plan to get to reInvent this year.
reInvent is in Vegas too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say you need to be a developer advocate for Splunk, so you can go to SplunkConf.
Are you at Splunk?
No, I'm not at Splunk, so I've been to SplunkConf 2 times.
Um,
I went 2 years ago. It was in Vegas. Got to see Usher and met up with some friends. It was a good time.
Matter of fact, let me look up Splunk right now. Apply. I'm
I
about to
think
go
you
look
like
it up.
it. You like, I mean, you like manipulating, like maybe like data or something.
Like,
It's
yes.
like it's a really cool platform for real, for real.
Cool. I'm gonna check it
Now, here's some fun stuff because people are like, okay, well, we want to know how to be a cloud engineer. So, what should somebody do right now with zero experience to become a cloud engineer?
out. Okay. To become a cloud engineer, zero experience right now. Definitely gonna be different than when I started with COVID. The main thing I need you to do is set a goal and set a date. I need you to pretend that you are signed up at the University of AWS or University of Google Cloud, and you are enrolled in these courses. You need to set a date for projects that are due, to take mock exams, to just structure out your whole plan. And I want you to really structure it like semester by semester. If you are busy, you're an adult, like most of us are, then part time. I want you to go to ChatGPT, Claude, whatever, and I need you to tell them all about you and say, "This is what I do. I'm a mom. I cook dinner at this time. My kids have Taekwondo, but I need to structure these learning skills and this tool set in this time frame. And I need you to structure in times to do projects, times to do exams. I need you to give me quizzes and walk me through them. You know what I mean? Like, I need you to, what I'm telling, the basics of what I'm saying is get serious, okay? I need you to lock in and create a schedule and stick to it, because nobody is going to give you a handout. And in this economy right now, you got to prove yourself more than ever. If you're coming from a non traditional tech route, you have to show up bigger and better than somebody that's coming from a CS degree. So that means building out those projects and not the cute little, oh, I put an object in an S3 bucket. That's not going to cut it anymore. I'm sorry. You have to build something that is from end to end, something with infrastructure. I said this earlier to somebody, but go for your favorite company. If it's Nike, I need you to build out an app saying, this is how I can help the Nike tech team. These are some ideas I have, and this is the project I built. Document it in whatever way works for you. LinkedIn, Medium, Instagram, TikTok, whatever works. And then you're going to tag every Nike page possible. You're going to go to the people at Nike on LinkedIn and follow them. But what I want you to do is start today. Also, the biggest thing is labs. You have to get hands on, build projects, debug, break it, build it again. That's going to be the best way to learn. But you have to start somewhere and continue. Start with one platform, stick to it, and keep going.
Nice, nice. Now, I will say, this is a question that was not in there, but I will say, I know that you are a big proponent of free stuff. But would you say for the people who are not like yourself and need to be held accountable, would you advise them to research some more paid options to make them stay on track?
Absolutely. If you're going to do this from a non-traditional tech route, you don't have a professor and somebody that's on you to turn in stuff. I understand that everybody is not good at holding themselves accountable. So there are some boot camps, there are some courses. I know the AWS has an institute. I know some people do consulting. Um, Find somebody that you trust, find somebody that has good reviews, have that intro call with them. And if the vibe is right and it feels right to you, then you proceed. But don't just go throw your money at every and anybody that says, I'm a cloud engineer. I know that. No, do your research, make sure that they have the chops to back it up. Do the community trust them? Do whatever the reviews say. But yeah, I'm not opposed to, paid methods of learning. If it's worth it, it's worth it. I pay for Udemy courses and things like that, but do your due diligence.
Facts. And I'm gonna throw a shameless plug of two of my guys in here, D'Amico Chambers and Broadus. I got videos with them on the channel. Y'all can go check them out. Real authentic. I don't know if you watched my episode with Broadus, but it's hilarious how it starts off when he said he got that cloud job and he was working at the bank and he said they got one more time to say something to me, I'ma quit. Like it's a funny episode, but nah, definitely I agree with you on that. Like, definitely read the reviews and also see if the people that's reviewing the stuff is real people. So what
Mm,
I found out in this space, you can just pay people to give you testimonials, and they always have like a first name, they got a first last name, and you can't find out who these people are.
yeah,
So like, I pride myself a lot on having people's first last names on my testimonials. So you can go find them on LinkedIn. And so that's big to me. I don't care if I got one testimonial; it's still a real person versus
right.
10 people. but
That's true.
but nah. So what else? Because you kind of mentioned some of this stuff earlier, but what else should they be learning in conjunction to learning the cloud?
Okay. Yeah, you have to have that cloud toolkit. And it's not just certifications. You have to learn some scripting. You have to learn some programming. You have to learn how to move around, programmatically with the CLI, which is, can also be scripting. But you need to learn CI/CD. You need to learn, I wouldn't say you need to learn automation, but there's more than just certifications. Certifications are just letting the recruiters know that you're good at taking a test. Okay. It means that you got a shiny little certificate. That's nice. But you have to know these other skills. So again, Python is good. You don't have to learn Python. You can do JavaScript. But for most cloud engineers that I know, Python is one of the top ones. Docker, Kubernetes, Jenkins, and there's a few other ones. I have to think about it, but that's what I use on the day to day. So please learn that stuff. You can find all of that on YouTube. Just type in Docker intro course. You can find a 4-hour course.
Yeah, and I was going to add in like too. I see a lot of times like when we're reviewing stuff, the cloud team when they like doing stuff in their environment, I'll see Ansible and Puppet and Chef in there too.
Yeah, yeah. Ansible's
And
good.
yeah, free game is an easy way. Like if you want to look up for like, man, I can see I can do IT automations with this, but what I need to do, like
Mhm.
Google it. Hey, what are some automation projects that I can do with Ansible? See what come up.
Yeah,
Like I did that the other day. I was like, man, I want to let me do this thing or whatever. And so we kind of said this earlier, but I want you to reiterate this for yourself. It's like, what's the best way for people that or they did everything that you said them for them to do? Now, what is the best way for them to showcase their skill set?
the best way to showcase your skill set is build up your GitHub. Everybody asks for it. That's one of the first things people ask for as a cloud engineer. That's your portfolio. Your GitHub is your portfolio. They want to see your projects. Again, not the S3 bucket upload. We don't want to see that. That's nice. Put your projects in there. Anything that you're working on, even if it's not finished, that's what the documentation is for. And so you can put it in your README that going forward, this is what you're going to add. These are some of the tools you're going to use, and let people know this is an ongoing project. But put your stuff in there. You can always push your updates. But GitHub is a great way. LinkedIn is another one. Again, it doesn't have to be a finished project. It could be like, hey, this is day one of me learning machine learning. These are tools that I learned. This is the project that I have in mind. This is how I'm going to build it. Do you guys have any ideas, or would you do this project differently? That's how you bring other people in. Tag the companies that you're using. If it's AWS, tag them. If it's people that work at AWS, tag them and say, hey, what do you think of this project? Medium is another good one. If you're really good with blogs, you like doing that, start documenting on Medium. Um, and lastly, if you like being in front of the camera, do some Instagram stuff, do some TikTok stuff. Honestly, even LinkedIn. LinkedIn is pushing reels. They have added me to a creator program on LinkedIn, and they're like, we really want people to start engaging with this content. So if you notice now, the reels have been really pushed onto the main page. So do what works for you, what you feel comfortable with, and put yourself out there. Because if, like you said earlier, if no one knows, how are people going to know to even back you up when it's time to advocate for you to get a job? You know?
No, that's facts. That's facts. And yeah, I would definitely say that. Like, and then also the benefit that y'all got now is AI. So that's what I didn't ask you because you asked them on your story, and I should have put it right here. You said, "Hey, how many of you guys know the difference between AI and machine learning?" And I briefly wanted you to talk about the difference between AI and machine learning, if you had time.
Yeah. So yeah, I think people, they are used interchangeably. AI and ML are used interchangeably. Again, I'm not an expert. I am still learning as well, but I'm passionate about it. I really, really like machine learning. Um, so AI is the big umbrella, and everything else falls under that. You have machine learning, deep learning, all that type of stuff. AI is artificial intelligence. If it mimics a human, that's what we're doing. That's AI, right? But you have generative AI, which is what most people know, which is um, Claude, which is when you're putting in a text to image. That's generative AI. It is generating something new. Whereas machine learning is you are teaching this system. It's basically a brain. And we are training this brain to do certain things, to recognize certain patterns and different things like that. So we're teaching this brain, and generative AI is not really teaching it. It's pushing out new content for you. It's talking to you. It's LLMs and all those type of things. And so there's a difference between generative AI and ML. You can be an AI developer, you can be a machine learning engineer, you can be a data analytics. All those things are kind of interconnected but separate. So when it comes to AI and ML, again, just like cloud, there's so many sectors you can go in, not just cloud engineer. You could be a solutions architect, you can be a cloud security engineer. So just know the difference and then go from there.
For sure. Yeah, I know. Like for us, people that's not familiar, EDR, endpoint detection response, they use machine learning a lot. So they use machine.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's predicting different things it's getting from different threat sources, and like if a weird hash comes in that it kind of already knows, hey, this is malicious, it'll block it or
Ah,
doesn't execute it. So it's constantly learning to CrowdStrike. Really, it's probably like the best company that started doing that, but at the same time, it would be blocking everything at one point. But um, Josh is talking in the background. Okay, what is next for Shae?
what's next for me? Right. Only God knows. In the next 6 months, I am trying to land my dream role. We'll see how it goes. I'm trusting God in this journey, and I'm just putting in the work. Like, I actually may be taking a step back from Instagram because I really need to focus. And to focus for me, that means getting all the certifications I said I was going to get, building these projects, completing them, and interviewing for these roles that I want. So it's either developer advocacy or like a machine learning engineer or AI ambassador. But that is where I see myself in the next 6 months. And so if I go ghost, I know why. I'm working hard, and when I pop out, it's going to be because I have really good news to share. So that's what's next for me.
Dope, dope. And so for the last thing though, where can they find you at?
You can find me across all social platforms with Shae in the Cloud, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. And then for my LinkedIn, it's the Shae Lida, but try not to find me on there, okay? Um,
Out for the people that's just listening on the podcast format.
Yeah, it's SHAE in the cloud, all one word, SHAE in the cloud. There are like 11 fake Shae in the clouds on TikTok trying to get you to sign up for Bitcoin. You have never heard me say Bitcoin. So be smart, guys, and use your discernment.
Y'all got that, man. This has been another great episode. I thank everybody that's been rocking with us, and who knows, we might even have Shae back like on one of our live panels that we like to do that y'all thoroughly enjoy. But until next time, let's stay textual, and we